Hello, how are you doing? Logitech have updated the drivers again. Yay! Things stopped working. Yay! I've had to fix it again before I could do anything. Hey! Thanks, Logitech. Fixing the problems. I know I'm massively overexposed. That's what she said. Hey! I've had way too much coffee again today, and I'm not going to change anything about the video. To be absolutely honest, I cannot be bothered. So, yeah, tell me it's overexposed. I know. I look like I'm in heaven. Look at this. It's glorious. Played some Warhammer last night. That was good. I had an amazing turn 3. We were playing Spearhead, and I managed to score all of the points that were actually available in that battle round without luck being involved. Well, I mean, obviously it's a dice game, so there is some luck involved, but it was actually played for, strategized from a turn previous as to what I was going to do, and I'm pretty happy with that. I'm not going to lie. But that said, it's back to reality today, and today so far has been, as I say, problems, software, drivers constantly updating. I appreciate that Logitech are making inroads into updating the loop deck drivers and for the MX series of stuff they have. There's some really good features coming in, but the constant changing and the constant breaking of my hardware is becoming somewhat annoying. It takes me back to my days of running Linux when I was recompiling kernels every few days at some points. Not ideal, not when I want my system to be stable and just able to sit down and work. That said, I have got my graphics card next to me and needs to go into this box. I'm probably not going to have time to do it. Certainly not this weekend. As I already said in a couple of videos this week, I'm not going to have time. And it's unlikely that next week I'm going to be pretty much away until Thursday. So yeah, it'll likely, unless anything comes up, be next weekend when I get the card in. Nothing's turned up yet, so my Stream 1 is still somewhere in either a shipping container or with DPD somewhere at this point. It's not showing as updated. Some of the other bits and pieces that I need to shift and get rid of. Some bits of Warhammer, that box that I won. The guy that was supposed to be buying it yesterday decided he didn't want it, which is a little bit annoying because I'd already spent that £100 on the stream. I'll put the what towards the Stream 1. Bit annoying there. Not ideal, but I'll figure that one out. And hopefully this weekend we will see the pre-order of the stuff that I've been waiting for my army, and I can crack on with that. I've got some really interesting videos coming up that I'm really... Not on this channel. These will just carry on being vlogs, but over on my hobby channel, I've got some really interesting videos that I want to make that's a little bit of a it's not a divergence, a little bit of a departure from the standard format that I do. So I will be mixing up the style of content, so there'll be some more educational stuff, and I think that's really important in that hobby space. One of the things that I mentioned I was going to talk about was the leadership aspect of my role and how I'm developing into that. And there's some aspects of that I can't really go into at the moment in a huge amount of detail, but things have changed in terms of the dynamic and the direction of travel of my career and what's coming up over the next 12 months certainly. And there's some bits and pieces there that I'll cover. I'll talk about in detail as things kick off towards the end of summer this year, perhaps. But one of the things that's going to carry over into my hobby channel, and one of the things that I've tried to convey a lot, is my passion for doing what it is that I do. And I really like teaching. It's one of the things that I literally fallen into. I never thought I would enjoy it. I'm not a naturally outgoing person, but there is something about when you're talking to somebody and you're giving them some knowledge, that moment of realization when they get something and they grasp a concept or a theory or whatever it is, and they truly get it, that is quite addictive, I think. And I think it's really important when you're doing certain things. So taking painting as an example, it's functionally easier. You're taking some color and you're putting it on a model. No problem. When you're trying to replicate something in real life using that medium, you can do so through repetition and copying, but I find there is value in understanding how things interact with each other, and that gives me a cognitive understanding of how I need to replicate something at a different scale, where the physics of whatever it is may be different. Thinking about scale, then, to paint something like, without going overly detailed into it, the miniatures that I paint, 28 to 32 millimeter heroic scale, so the proportions are exaggerated somewhat so that you can get the level of detail at that scale. Then if you're painting something like a fabric texture, Hessian leather, something like that, you can't paint it with the same fidelity that you would paint something at a 1-to-1 scale. In which case you need to understand what it is about how light plays on something, how the fold of fabric works, the rigidity of a material, how you can then use techniques to replicate that. And that's something that I want to explore in some of the hobby videos, how that actually works from both the artistic interpretive perspective, but also from the scientific perspective of that, and how those two kind of meld together to create a medium ground that gives you the appearance of what it is that you're trying to replicate, whilst not being overly arduous to create. If you try to create every single detail, it's going to be impossible to do at that scale. Even with a single hairbrush, the best painters in the world won't be able to do that. So having an understanding of the physics helps me personally. So I think there is some value there in trying to put something together that will help other people maybe think in that way and progress in their hobby journey. And I'm excited to do that. Yeah, I've said a lot as well. I feel like this is a little bit retrograde in terms of what I was doing, but I hadn't actually planned out what I was going to say, because normally these don't go into this amount of detail. So yeah, there we are. That's a lot of stuff to digest. I'm gonna go, because this is a longer one than I planned. Right, I enjoyed chatting to you. I hope you enjoyed listening. If you did, let me know. I know you will, because you always do, and I appreciate it, mate. Cheers. Right, I'm gonna head off. Got a little bit more work to do, and then I'm gonna chill with the little one for a bit and read some D&D books. All right, have a good one, and don't do that thing that I said I wasn't gonna say anymore. It's naughty. All right, see ya.